Have you ever been body shamed? If so, how? Yes. A lot. All my life I was, and still am, a skinny guy. And always people made inappropriate comments on my body. Why you're so skinny? You look like skeleton. Eat something and shits like that. And it hurts. Truly hurts because for some reason people find it offending to tell someone who is overweight, hey, you're fat, and most of the times are very careful not to offend the other. But when someone is skinny, they think it's absolutely fine to tell their stupid opinion. I had a couple incidents where women turned their noses up at me because of my weight. I wouldn't mind it. Except I told them my weight before we met in person and supposedly they were fine with that. Joke's on them though. My wife thinks I'm sexy as hell and she's infinitely more beautiful and a better person than any of them were. Yes. A lot. All my life I was, and still am, a skinny guy. And always people made inappropriate comments on my body. Why you're so skinny? You look like skeleton. Eat something and shits like that. And it hurts. Truly hurts because for some reason people find it offending to tell someone who is overweight, hey, you're fat, and most of the times are very careful not to offend the other. But when someone is skinny, they think it's absolutely fine to tell their stupid opinion. While I was in the hospital for my multiple sclerosis flare, I had to take 4 steroids, which blew me up a bit. The guy I was seeing at the time visited and made jokes about my shins. Talked about how big they were. Can't remember the verbatim used, but I remember feeling like shit and telling him that pointing out a fault in me while I'm dealing with health issues isn't okay. He wouldn't lay with me for comfort or anything. He broke up with me a couple hours later. I hated my shins beforehand. Now, I hate them even more. What would you do if you discovered? Depends on the neighbor, but it would range from minding my own business to giving them requests for things I'd like to see next. Nope. Good on them for making money in a way that they are content. Not my business. Leave it be. They aren't doing it for you. If a neighbor, I may tell friends. If friends, I'd say nothing. Unless they're very good friends and I was to just neutrally advise a better alias or something. If a family member, that shit's going with me to the grave and I'll send it ahead via liberal application of alcohol and eye drops if possible. Can you make new friends at 28? If you couldn't, that would mean moving to a new country or city entails becoming a social outcast. You can make friends at any age. After college, your friends become coworkers or your wife's friend's husband. And you are expected to just commingle with random adult males that her friends deem to be acceptable mates, and Lord forbid you say anything that would affect her outward appearance to her social circle. So now, you wait. Someday you'll be in a retirement home because your kids can't be bothered to care for you. You'll make new friends. They will all be old and wrinkly. None of them will remember their Steam ID or be able to handle a keyboard and mouse. Yes. But it's more difficult because of all kinds of expectations. In kindergarten you become friends because you both have a blue sweater on. When you are 28 it takes a bit more work. You can absolutely make friends as an adult. This weekend, try talking to new neighbors that might have moved in. Go to a wine tasting or a yoga class. Chat with people, and if they seem nice, let them know you enjoyed talking to them and ask if they would like to exchange contact info and hang out sometime. Follow up with a few ideas and a few different days to get together. Find an interest that other people have. And then go and join a group that does those things. 2 years ago I got into D. And I then found a public group that started doing D sessions. After the whole pandemic thing kinda stopped being a problem. And I was able to pretty much start from scratch and made some new friends. Even better, a friend I knew from before that is the DM for a group, and I was able to grow into D with a familiar face around me. It's now 2023 and I DM my own table. And half of the previous game's players are with me. And it's great. For context, I'm 34 now. No conspiracy stuff here, PLS. Just this question: how high was the chance for a building like the World Trade Center to collapse downwards instead of sideways, and in that way twice? Architects or demolition crews maybe here? They fell mostly downwards and partially sideways. Hence they fell on surrounding buildings. Very high. The reason they collapsed was because raging fires on the upper levels ultimately weakened the supports enough for the uppermost sections to succumb to gravity and start to fall straight down. It was impossible for the lower regions to stop or redirect that force once it started. So the entire buildings proceeded to fall straight down. I'm not an expert, but my reasoning is, it's probably easier for a large structure made of an array of different materials to crumble as it collapses, than to fall retaining its shape sideways. It's not a tree. Honestly, what has always stuck with me was not the way the buildings fell, but the timing of the attack. Had they gone at 10 a.m. instead of shortly before 9, how many additional thousands of people would have been killed? I, who lives in NYC, have personally met at least a dozen people who worked in the towers who were for the most part unharmed because they were still out on the street or just not at work yet. I think the reason is that the horizontal force the airplanes produced was not enough to bend the towers. Their weight and inertia are too great. So they collapsed downwards. Since the structural framework that was designed to withstand the tower's weight, the biggest force in action, was not able to support it anymore. So, in conclusion, by far the biggest force in the skyscraper is the one produced by the weight of the structure. This force points downwards. So it collapsed following that path. They have no interest in a relationship. I have interest in a relationship again. However, relationships have no interest in me. That's normal. You definitely don't have to date at 16. You don't ever need to date if you don't want to. It's a perfectly valid choice to just not pursue girls. Please continue with what you want to do. Don't feel pressure of doing things because others are. Do it at your own pace. Everything you're describing is a result of view of relationships and a reflection of fears. Being obsessed and destroying your life is a choice. Treating to the other person is also a choice. You are free to direct the plot of your relationship. Relationships can be beautiful or disgusting. Build or destroy your life. You decide.